I have no idea.
Why don't you do any research? You just show up.
Rafting training courses.
Yep. So we're going to have a more nuanced debate about rafting training courses in a bit because I feel like it keeps coming up, and it came up in the Q&A show with Dougie and I the other day. But before we do, I want to bring up pins and clips again. Remember we were talking about this one the other day, Aaron, which I think is the classic?
I hate that one, yes.
You shouldn't hate it.
I'm a hater.
Is this the one you like?
Sort of. No, part of it. You bastardized it though.
No, I didn't bastardize. Somebody gave this to me, so I didn't do anything.
No. I like the rubber stopper on the top.
You like the nut or the bolt up here, the head of the bolt up here through this rubber stopper.
Yeah.
And the nut ends down here with a lock washer. That's what you like.
No. You screw. You have the bottom of your. Basically, you have that on a creek frame, and then you've got bolts welded on the creek frame. A bolt welded on the creek frame. So you screw that into the creek frame.
Yeah.
That's what I like. It's so solid, and it just works so well.
The problem is it's not interchangeable to other boat types.
No, but it's reliable. You're not going to be in the middle of the rep. It's never failed me. The type you have has failed me so many times.
This one has failed you.
Yes. No. That one's never failed me.
Why has this one failed you?
Because the stupid little ball on the top's popped off.
Yeah, put a lock nut on there. You're done.
Even with a lock nut, I had.
No, don't tell me you need a lock nut. Don't tell me that. I've never had a ball. It's been a while. It's been more than 10 years.
And that's the other problem. You lose the ball, you're hosed.
You bring a spare ball because it happens, and
the rubber's soft.
Check on it. But anyway, Aaron, my issue with this one is, first of all, if you're guiding Cherry Creek and everybody has the exact same frames, you're fine. Screw it into the frames. Awesome. This thing is bomber, right? Except for this, don't ever use these for the
that part makes it.
That's garbage.
And I'm not a big fan of the PVC around there. The PVC, I'd rather have the thinner clip with the metal versus the PVC. You're holding that. What you're holding with your hand right now is PVC.
Yeah, see, what do you hit down you hit these things? You hit your little thingies down more. Like this is made to go over this one. Are you saying you
grab
plastic off?
Grab the other one.
Make this thinner.
No, but grab your other pin. Compare the two pins. One pin is way smaller in diameter than the other one, correct?
Yeah, not way smaller, but
yeah, it's way smaller. Like you can slide that clip easily on the one. You
15% smaller. Yeah.
Already used to run pins and clips with the plastic over it, and that piece of plastic would break.
I remember that. I was thought that
it would wear down and it would crack. I just don't. I like the metal better.
You would take this thing off. You would take this lock nuts on here pretty good.
Basically, everything.
You just run. You would run straight against this. Right against that.
Well, I have the sleeve on it like you have on the other one.
You'd use the metal. So you take the metal sleeve off of here. Yeah. Put the metal sleeve on here. Got it. My only issue with this.
Now I'm not sure if we did have a metal sleeve on there or not. I can't remember. Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did have a metal sleeve.
I think you would have had to. Yeah.
Because I remember, the one thing that sucks about this is if you bend the pin, right? Because you bend it. Yeah. Then you'd have to take a hacksaw and you have to cut off the end of it to get all the rest of your thing off of there. If that makes sense.
Yeah. No, that's so. Aaron, I'm going to say this thing has a lot of stuff on it. So this is really thin, right? You wouldn't use just this by itself, but you would use this. I bet this same, like on these, this is a part of I use. This probably fits on here really well. You do that.
Yep. Yeah,
I think that allows it to move really nicely.
Yeah, and it keeps the stirrup from compressing down if you do it right and run. And I like we talked about last time. I make it a little shorter, have a washer on each side of the stirrup, and have a washer on the bottom so the stirrup will never compress down.
Okay.
So that the stirrup maintains its shape all the time.
Okay. I don't mind these that much. I think I actually slightly prefer it because this is if you're gonna fall on something,
yes,
I'd rather fall on this one than this one.
Yeah,
this is hard plastic. This is rubber, so it's not, and it's big. It's more of a surface area to hit. I'd rather hit my ribs on this than the ball for sure.
And if you're going to high side, which one would you rather grab? I think it's bigger. It's a nicer. Like
Yeah, to grab.
when we run Toadstool, I'd always go up and I'd grab that thing every time, and I have one hand on it, and it's a solid.
Yeah, this is harder to grab for sure. If you're gonna like jump up and grab the Orlock, this is a much nicer handhold.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I'm trying to be with you here. Here's my downside, Aaron.
Mm-hmm.
I think the issue is that this distance here doesn't fit through everybody's little hole on their frame to put their Orlocks or things.
Totally agree.
And so this one is
you have to make some adjustments. If you have the little triangle ones that go up, if you put some spacers down below, you can make it work. But it doesn't work as well. You know, if
it fits, like if it doesn't work this one, if it fits your setup, sweet, right? But like for me, I'm switching between frames a lot. Like I might be putting pins and clips on one day, or locks on a different day. I might be using a different boat, so I'm moving my pins and clips between boats, and so this would be frustrating because it may not always fit over on the oar I'm using. So this one, because it has this long distance, this one fits on anything because it's a longer distance out.
And Zach, I'll say what you're saying is a negative of it is what I also found the positive of it is it's like it has less moving parts. It has less stuff to keep tight. It's like you just screw that thing in, hammer it in onto your frame, and it stays there. It's there. It's not going anywhere.
Assuming your frame has a lock nut welded on. Assuming that.
Well, a nut, not a lock nut. Just
so the thing is, you are, when you put the lock nut on there, you are only ever using pins and clips. Yep. And you're only ever using this kind of pin and clip. You're not. Yep. So like if you want to switch the next day your frame and use oar locks, or let's say you're on a multi-day and you break something, you can't borrow somebody else's.
Well, you could. I think you might. I don't know. It's a good question about the diameter. If the diameter works or something in or not. I'm not. That's a good question. I'm not sure how the diameter
won't work through this nut. It will, like when this nut's at the bottom, you can't put anything through. So you're forcing yourself to only ever use this.
Are you sure that nut won't? Can you take one? Do you have one of those NRS ones? Let's check that real quick.
You mean this?
No. Have an NRS. Pull out one of your Cobra locks. And see if it's on the bottom of the Cobra lock.
No, it's not even close.
Yeah.
So you're constrained to this system. That's my point. Where like these pins and clips, although the disadvantages are I'd rather not fall on this, and it's harder to grab if I'm going to grab something. The advantage
is it falls, and more importantly, it comes apart on you, and you have to tighten the top and the bottom. You got to maintain tightness on two parts.
It's not that hard, Aaron. This is not a problem, but whatever.
I've seen they always come loose.
Yeah, okay. You've seen everything. I don't want to hear your. I've seen.
They always come loose. I'm just gonna say.
Hey, Aaron, we try to avoid the words always and never on this show.
No, but they always come loose.
I haven't had one come loose in a long time. Use a fucking lock nut. Sorry to swear, but it's so frustrating.
On the bottom too, you've never had them come loose.
I use a lock on the bottom too. I also know how to use a wrench.
Well, it sounds like you're taking them off and on so much that you're always tightening them down, so it's not a problem.
I am taking them off and on a lot because I do. Some days I'll run pins and clips. Sometimes I'll run spinnies. Sometimes I don't know, do something else. I'm moving around all the time. Almost convinced pins and clips. Cool. Any reason? Yeah, put a clip over there. If it fits, do it. It'll work great. And we're not here to.
I say it's a little trickier sometimes to get all that material through the stirrup, depending on how big your how big in diameter your oars are. So I would check it out beforehand, make sure it works. Because I have had that problem where you can't just put it on top of the rope wrap, but sometimes it's too bulky to get easily through the stirrup. And you'll just unscrew the little knob on top, since it's really easy to do on Zach's, and you can just slide it down on top and then put it on, and that'll take care of it. But
yeah, we've talked about this before. If it fits, it works. If it doesn't fit, it doesn't work. That's
well, if it fits on the oar, but also
and it has to fit and it has to fit to the stirrup, because now you have a bigger volume oar that has to.
But it doesn't have to with the type that you use, and that's the one advantage of the type you use is if you can just undo the little.
You can undo. You can put this off, put the oar in, and screw this back down. It's a pain in the butt every time.
You don't even have to slam the oar in there. You can just slide it down onto the pin.
Yeah.
And and if your pins are really tight, your clips are really tight, you don't even have to like slam it on. You just slide it down on there.
Slamming it in is part of the fun.
I will say I agree. That is
when you pop a pin and clip oar in a big rapid and you just go bam, and don't even look at it, it's pretty awesome. It feels cool and it looks cool.
And I also like when it doesn't get all the way on, you have to give it a kick with your foot afterwards, a quick little kick to get it on.
I never had to do that. Anyway,
Really?
a friend brought me
Wow.
these. I thought I'd show them off, and because I know how much you like these.
Wait, who
I
brought
really
those?
what a friend of mine. He bought a boat and had pins and clips, and he thought they were stupid. He knew I liked them, so he brought them over.
Well, I'll take that setup if you don't want it.
See, if you answer the trivia question, you can.
I'll take those rubber stoppers. I'll take those rubber things off the top.
Yeah.
I can take care of the rest of it. Those little rubber stoppers are a little hard to find.
Yeah, I'm just not. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, rope stopped are great. Like spinnies are great. I run spinnies all the time. They're just they're just different way of doing things. What brand is you use? They're both on NRS. I found them the other day. I think we're getting so good, Aaron, at using the NRS website, even though we talk trash about some of the stuff they make.
Let's just be honest. You talk trash. I never talk trash about it.
I think that we're getting to where we're almost. So pins and clips, I just stopped the pins. This shows up, right? This is the NRS one. I think this is.
But this is weird. I don't know what they're doing with it there. You just want a little rubber stopper on top, and then the rest of that setup is. I can't believe they. I mean, Zach, we're gonna have to rip them a new one on this one because what the hell is that?
Aaron,
I mean that is not. I've never seen anyone run their pins and clips looking like that on the river ever. What the hell is that? Is that some special design one that you can run two clips on it at once?
Hold on one second.
I mean, oh my goodness.
Aaron, I thought I was the one ripping NRS. Now it's you.
But that's insulting right there. That is so horrible.
I think part of the reason is NRS is trying to sell their or rankings, right?
Okay.
And so you can't blame them for wanting to sell their stuff. So
this make different.
If this goes in here, I think it works fine. Never mind. I thought this would go down too low. To be honest with you, I have no idea what they're doing.
I don't either. It's weird. That's a weird setup.
So if you bought this pin and clip, what you're getting here that you need is you're getting this piece, this rubber piece, and you're getting this bolt, which you could buy at a hardware store anyway.
And then and they make different lengths of those bolts too, so you don't have to use that's what's funny about this is they got the wrong length bolt here. Someone got the wrong one.
Yeah, I don't like how long that is. And then these little pieces of plastic, I don't know what they're thinking with this stuff either.
Well, the problem is if your clip is a wider clip. Like if they make two different diameters of clips, I believe. I don't know if they still do it. So the clips that fit different diameters. So if you have the wrong clip, it's not going to work well.
Yeah.
Depending on which clip you have.
The other thing is they're trying to sell you here on their little like leathery thing like this. You don't want this leathery thing. Like you want the plastic one. Do not get the leathery thing should not be sold to anybody for any reason. I can't think of any at least.
Well, I think the only reason maybe if you're rowing on flat water, you don't want your oars to fall in the river. If you're like rowing on lakes, I think it's fine because then you can stop, take both hands up, put it back on.
I saw my pins and clips on here, the ones I'm used to using. Didn't we see these on NRS the other day?
Yeah, I thought we saw them too. Yeah.
Maybe they stopped selling them once we advertised them. Maybe those guys are jerks. We'll stop selling that kind. But here we go. Oar stirrups. Yeah.
No, that's
just the stirrup. This is. So frustrating.
All right, but what's weird is go to that one again though. That one they have to set up properly. Yeah. I don't know what they're doing with that other setup. What can we figure out what that other setup is? Because that's how it should look with the other type of syrup.
I think they send you all these plastic parts and you can do what you want with it. The problem is you buy this and you look at this and you do it and then it's.
Oh God! Hey, don't set up like that. Ow! Yuck.
Aaron, but they were just selling the pins and clips.
That's really dangerous. So I mean, you got all this extra material up in there for you just to slam into and hurt yourself. I mean, I want that clean. I don't understand that one. But they did get rid of your balls. They're not selling your balls anymore, Zach.
Yeah, they were selling them last time we looked at this.
They probably, you know what? They're probably having problems with like what everyone's having problems with right now. They're probably just having problems getting them.
Is there a better way to attach clips to or no? I think hose clamps. There's some really high end hose clamps. I have a friend.
I was gonna say, Steve. I think the big thing is discussion. Is like hose clamps work well. I double up and put two hose clamps behind my clip and one in front of my clip. That just means I may have even done. I definitely do two behind.
So I had some
I think
friends
the big,
get Pins and Clips, and they got these really high-end hose clamps. I don't know if you can see these.
yeah.
They're kind of a darker gray. They're like $5 each. They're pretty expensive, but they definitely work better. Forever
How do they
Bolt.
work better?
You know how they like kind of get stripped after a while? These ones are just the mechanism's better. You can just tell by playing with it.
I don't really I haven't had problems with mine stripping, but I'm not messing with them. But the bigger problem I feel like is the tail end is really sharp and just like
Yeah, it cuts
cuts
people.
people so often. And so I think that's just have like I've seen a couple different methods for those tails that works well so that they're not sticking out cutting people. I mean, first of all, it's getting one and keeping it like so it's
So Aaron's
contoured to the
talking
bore.
about right now with this tail. I put this, dude. This tail here gets cut, and then people cut their fingers on it a lot. And so you
Yeah,
don't
it's
want it.
even if it's not cut, it's still sharp too. It's
Sometimes
always
it's like
sharp.
an inch out and can cut
Yeah.
people easily. So you want to get the right size clip, so this doesn't stick out very far. And I even will tape it down if I can.
But see, I was gonna say I prefer one that's longer, and then there's a couple different techniques I've seen. I've seen where you take a piece of like 7/8 inch webbing and put it on there, and then when you tighten down, the end goes into the 7/8 inch webbing. But if you have too much of that webbing around it, it takes away from its purchase on the ore. It doesn't work well. So you just want a little bit where it stuffs it under. That works pretty well. I've seen when they use the clear like tubing, like air tubing.
Yeah.
I don't like that as much. I feel like those break way too quickly and they fall
Aaron,
apart.
we are nerding out on pins and clips.
Okay,
And I
but
guarantee
then
99% of people think this pins and clips
no,
are stupid, and this is ridiculous.
no, but I think this is important safety stuff, Zach, because I think this is where most people get hurt with their pins and clips is on that. That scares me the most. And so what I used to do is just tape over mine.
So Aaron,
I would
here's
tape
what you're
over
saying.
the
Sorry,
top of
this is what we used to do. This is what Aaron's
Yeah.
talking about. Is you take some whatever this is, nylon tubular webbing, and you wrap it around. you put it through it, and then if this thing's long, it can get shoved inside of here.
Yeah.
Right.
But
And
I would have my piece of tubular webbing way shorter than maybe half as long. So most of it isn't.
I like it long because then it protects the ore. This is the part that's up against the ore.
Yeah, but the thing is, then I feel like it gets wet and then it gets softer, and I feel like my oars spin a lot more often when there's a lot of webbing on the hose clamp. And so if I have less webbing on there, it does better.
But what Aaron's saying is when this tail gets longer, you can then shove it inside of here, and it's protecting you from getting cut. So this is, using this this like 1/2 inch, maybe like
it's like
5, 6, 7.
Oh yeah,
5/16, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Tubular webbing, just use that. Aaron's saying some people use plastic hoses for this, and I've seen they just kind of like wear out faster, and they start getting dirty, like terrible. This looks tough. This looks cool.
But I'm gonna say this, Zach, with my oars, I would set them up and then I put duct tape over them, and I didn't have problems with them. They didn't need to be adjusted, and they were solid. And then actually, I wouldn't even use the duct tape. I'd use that other tape, like the black tape that you use for like on
electrical tape.
The thicker stuff, the wide stuff. I forget what it's called. But you like what you would use to like wrap like a pad on top of your truck or something like that. Yeah, that tape was great. It's super thick, lasts a long time. Wrap it around a few times, and you're not worried at all. And then like I said, if I'm going to high side, I can grab on anywhere I'm grabbing on. I'm not really worried about it. It's not sharp, and I cover the whole thing, including the mechanism you tighten down. Just tape over the whole thing so it's all smooth. And I think that's the best safety practice. That's best practices as far as I'm concerned. You're not that interested in this, are you?
No, I am. I'm bringing something up right now just to get ready for a question. Barrett, didn't you say I didn't like the NRS pins and clips? I don't like how it's set up here. I think I prefer the ball one. Aaron prefers this one. But how they set it up, I don't like.
I don't prefer this one. I prefer this. I prefer the other one, not that one.
Did you like this ball? You like the ball on top.
I like the ball. I like the rubber stopper on top.
You like the rubber stopper. I like the balls. Whatever. We can agree to disagree. But I think what we are both really offended by. Oh, here we go. This is the ore stirrup you should get, the Carlson ore stirrup, the plastic one. Yeah. We're both very offended by the. Let me find that page. Or clip. No. Anyway, this flappy thing around it is awful. And it should not be for sale. Like, people, in my opinion, should only use the plastic Carlson ones. These ones are just awful.
And they're very problematic the way they catch the
Yeah,
ore.
it's just for so many reasons.
Yeah,
And so it's hard because I recommend I don't recommend, but I like pins and clips, so I tell people I like them, and then some people get them and they buy this stuff from NRS and they don't know how to set it up because this picture's wrong, and they use the flappy ear stirrups and they have a terrible experience. And I'm like, yeah, it's because you bought this thing that wasn't
It's
really
kind of
going to.
interesting, yeah, how they don't set them up for success, and then people are like, "Oh, rafting sucks," and you're like, "Well, yeah,
Yeah,
because
pins and
your
clip. Well,
ore
they're like
setup
pins and clip
sucks."
sucks. Pins and clips. Okay, okay,
Yeah.
cool. Whatever. I don't argue with it anymore. But I have to argue at pins and clips weekly, and I'm kind of over it. But I think this flappy thing is a mess. I should do a Gear Garage video on how to set up pins and clips so I can just refer to that. Anyway, let's move on. Aaron, we have some videos to watch today before we get to our
Awesome.
discussion. And I
Before
know
our discussion.
you're going to be
By the
very.
way, I can't stay too long today, so like
Oh,
we're gonna have to cut it off at 2 hours.
oh, that's fine. I can't either. So we're going to start with your favorite school.